Hello and welcome back to my channel. This will be a part 2 from the video that I did before, because that video ended with this bag that I call the mystery bag. I'm a vintage handbag collector, and I saw this bag hanging on a rack in a secondhand store. And I had a really bad day at work that day. It was probably the worst ever. And then I saw this beautiful bag just like beaming and shining on the rack for like $9.99. And at the time, I knew the shape of the bag, was similar in style to an Hermes Kelly. But, just in the back of my mind, I was like, that's not an Hermes bag up in this store for $9.99. And I was like, well, don't leave it there. So I probably stared at this bag for about 20 minutes, and I had to make a quick decision. I was on my phone looking online, just really trying to authenticate it right then and there, because I didn't want to spend $10, on a bag that wasn't real. But the aroma of the leather is nice. It doesn't have like an old smell like some vintage bags do. So it wasn't something that was like, stinky. It's not a stinky bag. And then the structure and just right then and there was just like really well made. And I was like, it's got to be something on this bag that can let me know that I'm not going to waste my money if I buy it. So the inside of the bag had the zipper has a marking on it that I was able to research on my phone. And I was like, I'm buying this bag. Okay. A little bit of history. The Hermes Kelly was named after Princess Grace Kelly. The bag was made before it was named after her, but when she carried it to cover her midsection because she was expecting at the time, and she didn't want the paparazzi and the public to know right away, so she hid herself. So, you just carry it in the crook of your arm, and, you just walk out, like that, and, here's the other side, just cover yourself. Okay. And she's just a beautiful person, just a beautiful actress, just radiated the screen. And every time I see an Hermes Kelly or hear someone talk about the Kelly bag, I think of her. Okay. Now, what I would like to cover really quick is how much work I put into this bag to get to know it. It just needed a little bit of leather cleaner. And as I cleaned it, it just really started to, show really what type of bag this is. After I cleaned it, I just stared at the bag for, I don't know how many hours I spent, because I really tried to find out if it's Hermes, because there's no markings on here. I had someone take a look at this bag. I just sent them pictures, through Facebook Messenger, and they were just like, oh no, it's fake because there's no Hermes markings. And I was like, okay, that was quick. But I didn't back down. I was like, no, this bag is made too well. This bag has a story behind it, and I got to find it. It's made too well for it not to be something. So I don't know if the artisan that was making this bag made a goof somewhere, because if the bag isn't perfect, they won't sell it. So I'm like, is that what happened? Was there someone that was trained to make an Hermes bag, and they just did it on the side and was like, I'm just gonna, that's nothing, I'm just gonna, give it away. I don't know if that's what happened. But I'm gonna start to get a little close here so you can see. It looks like the seams are hand sewn, because it said online that if it's diagonal, it's not a machine, it's hand stitched. So I'm like, okay, this bag is hand stitched. They said if the bag stands up straight, like it doesn't lean, sorry it's on my lap, it doesn't really count, but if it doesn't lean, the feet and the handle doesn't flop or drop, is real. And here's the feet here. And I mean, I looked this bag over and over and over and over just to like really make sense of it. The clochette was another telling of this bag. The clochette is 2 pieces. It's not sewn together. So if it's 2 pieces, that's possibly where it's real. The toggle holding the flaps. They said that if it turns smoothly, you know, that is real, and I guess mine turns smoothly. And whether I place the right over the left or the left over the right, it holds perfectly centered. You know, it's not a one-off type deal like, oh, I can only wear the right over the left for it to be, you know, either way, left over right, right over left, right over left, it still holds like perfectly centered. Opening the bag, the inside is leather. I mean, it's so nice. There's like one ink mark in here, and I couldn't get it out, and I didn't want to like ruin the leather, but I was like, okay, is that why they gave it up? Because it has an ink mark. But there's the pockets. The inside of the interior pocket has like some type of satin lining. I mean, just everything is really nice. Just immaculate. I mean, the corners here, I was looking at the corners online, you know, looking over the real bags. I mean, it just looks the same. There's no Hermes markings though, and that's what the first person I showed my bag, that's what they were looking for. There's no date code, no date stamps. And I did notice that the rivets on mine, there's only 3. And the Hermes bags have 4. So I'm just like, oh, okay, you know, got sad. But then I got happy again because I don't know if I'll be able to show you this, but the zipper, like I said before, is the reason why I bought this bag. The zipper is marked Eclair. It's an Eclair zipper. E-C-L-A-I-R. And if you Google that and make sure you put zipper at the end of it, you'll find out that it's a French company back in the 60s and 70s. And their zippers were only sewn into high-end bags, luxury bags. You can find some Louis Vuitton bags from back then that have Eclair zippers. And I thought I may have found some information that some vintage Chanel items, if it wasn't a bag, it was a garment, those had Eclair zippers. So I got happy again. I was like, well, maybe mine is real. Because why would someone go through the trouble to just make this bag so perfectly, use a high-end zipper, but you know, there's no Hermes marking. So that's why my hunch is maybe someone was practicing. You know, they had the talent of an Hermes artisan, but, you know, it just wasn't good enough to put on the rack to sell as Hermes. You know, maybe they were training. Maybe this is a training bag. So another thing, I was interested in the metal because the metal hardware is not tarnishing. So I'm like, well, that can't be brass because, you know, brass over time, you know, if this is a 1970s type bag because the Eclair zipper was used in the 70s, I was like, wow, this is not brass. So I took this to a pawn shop and right on the spot, the guy was like, oh, this is gold tone. So I have a great leather bag with gold tone leather with a vintage upscale zipper. And I just want to know if this is really an Hermes Kelly. So if you can help me out, you know, drop me a few comments, you know, let me know what you think, because this bag has a story and I've had it for about maybe 7 months now. And I'm just like still wondering. So I look forward to your comments. Thanks.